So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the UK isolated over the Northern Ireland Protocol by the EU and the US as an alliance rules out renegotiation. So just to kind of backtrack just a little bit, the US and the EU essentially put out a joint statement, or at least certain members of the respective governments have done, saying that we agree that renegotiating the protocol is not an option. That's Congressman Boyle talking there. So if we go back to this, the UK's isolation over its plans to tear up the protocol have been underlined by a new EU-US alliance ruling out a renegotiation. So that's important because these are two of the UK's biggest trading partners. That's why it's a really important statement. And obviously two of the most powerful kind of entities in the world, really. US politicians led by a close ally of Joe Biden, that's Richard Neal, agreed a joint statement with members of the EU Parliament following a meeting in Paris. It calls on Johnson to abandon planned legislation to override the international agreement, arguing that the protocol protects the Good Friday Agreement and all its parts. And that's an important distinction, that these politicians, the US and the EU, argue that the Good Friday Agreement is protected by the Northern Ireland Protocol, whilst those in the British government and the DUP argue the Good Friday Agreement is undermined by the Northern Ireland Protocol. Now, in my opinion, the Northern Ireland Protocol obviously protects the Good Friday Agreement because of the fact that it stops a hard border going on the island of Ireland. It solves the border question that was created by Brexit. Congressman Boyle announced that we agree that renegotiating the protocol is not an option. This latest development comes just hours after Liz Truss resisted pressure to back down after hosting the US delegation at her country retreat in Chevening. So she took them to the nice house, the big house, and told them, we're not gonna change course. And obviously the Americans being like, yo, come on man, as Joe Biden would say. In stark contrast, she's understood to have insisted the UK is defending the Good Friday Agreement. And that's ironic that she made that statement to US politicians. Some of them, Richard Neal, would have been involved in getting the Good Friday Agreement signed. Without the American intervention, we wouldn't have the Good Friday Agreement. So it's very ironic that Liz Truss is acting like the UK are the bastions of the Good Friday Agreement. And she warned she would not let the situation drag on, but she is letting the situation drag on because they're not going to pass legislation for another 3 months now, or at least Parliament won't even see it for another 3 months now, potentially. So she's dragging on the situation because she didn't have this stuff prepared. The crisis threatens to provoke a hugely damaging trade war. It's not just a trade war with the EU we're risking here, it's also a trade war with the US, potentially. Donald Trump stuck tariffs on us for less. Pelosi warned that the rewriting of the protocol unilaterally will kill any lingering hopes the UK has of a free trade agreement. Now, the point I would make is the US need a harder line stance on this because the chances of a US-UK trade deal is not going to happen in the next decade. The UK argues the legislation is needed to remove trade border checks in the Irish Sea and to persuade the DUP to end its efforts to block the formation of a new power-sharing executive. And again, the DUP are basically holding everyone to ransom here, which is hilarious. A smaller party didn't win a majority, didn't even win the majority of votes in Stormont, right, is holding everyone to ransom. Or at least it's holding the Tory party to ransom. However, it goes much further than customs controls as it measures the target the role of the European Court of Justice in overseeing disputes and the UK's prerogative to decide VAT rates. In terms of the VAT rates, that's a change the government might actually get, but changing the European Court of Justice is not going to happen. So essentially, the UK have set red lines that the EU are never going to be able to meet. There's that. The EU insists it has to put forward proposals to ease the burden of checks. Last week, the Prime Minister admitted he had signed up to the trade barriers created by the protocol while hoping that the EU would not apply them. So what this article indicates is wrong because this article indicates that Boris Johnson didn't want the EU to apply or didn't expect the EU to apply the protocol when that's not what Boris Johnson actually said. Boris Johnson's statements are so dumb, you don't have to make up things. Just letting journalists and people on Twitter, because I saw someone on Twitter post this and I was like, there's no way Johnson said this. If you actually look at what he did say, this is an interview with Channel 4.
Be surprised by any of the bits that you don't like at the moment. Pretty much all of them were in the impact assessment papers. I've got them here, I've read them. Did you read them?
Of course, but
So have you just ignored them then?
No, I hoped and believed that our friends would not necessarily want to apply the protocol in quite the way that they have. And
essentially, he's arguing about implementation. So again, you don't have to lie, people, about what Boris Johnson has said, because the guy's an idiot. He's arguing about interpretation still. So he didn't say that he thought the EU wouldn't apply the Northern Ireland Protocol. He thought they wouldn't apply them in the way they had, which is obviously a lie, because we knew how damaging the Northern Ireland Protocol was in terms of, we know what happens when you put up trade barriers. Again, he talks about urging, good faith negotiations. The American delegation, Liz Truss, saying, we discussed our cast iron commitment to the Good Friday Agreement, the importance of free trade, and our condemnation of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. But, how much did you talk about the UK's illegal actions regarding the Northern Ireland Protocol? Hopefully that was the main point of discussion, because that was the whole point of their visit here. But anyways, look, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.